There are two restaurants here at Disney Springs that are very similar, the Boathouse and Paddlefish. One of them is widely considered the best restaurant at Disney Springs, and one tends to be forgotten about. But today, I'm here to see which is actually better as these two restaurants go head to head. I'm gonna be ordering the exact same meal at the Boathouse and Paddlefish, and at the end, I'll let you know which of these restaurants comes out on top. First, the Boathouse. Now, this is a restaurant that I dine at quite often, honestly an embarrassing amount of times per month. Not only do I love all of the food, but I love the ambiance. They have an amazing bar out back with great cocktails, and this menu is so expansive, I feel like I could get something new every single time I eat here. But today, I'm not gonna be choosing what I eat. Since the Boathouse and Paddlefish have such similar menus, I went through and I selected 4 things that both of these restaurants serve to keep things fair. And our first dish is calamari. Here at the Boathouse, they serve a hoisin chili calamari with red bell peppers, jalapenos, green onions, and sesame seeds for $19. I pride myself on being able to say I've pretty much tried everything on the menu at the Boathouse. One thing I haven't tried before is this calamari here. I don't know if I've never ordered it because you could get calamari at most places, so I tend to stick to the things that you maybe can't get at other places around Disney World here at the Boathouse, especially when it comes to appetizers. But yeah, I've never tried this calamari here. It looks really good. It looks super crispy. It came out piping hot. And this sauce in the center is different and smells really good. Before we go for a dunk in the sauce, I want to just try this calamari on its own. I am really surprised by this because I gotta admit, I'm not loving this calamari. That's on its own, remember. I'm sure the sauce is gonna help a lot because it really doesn't have much flavor at all. Like the breading is really nice and light and flaky. I appreciate that, but it just doesn't have a lot of flavor in it. Now the batter has been fried to perfection. It is really crispy, which is certainly one of the most important parts of calamari. But I also feel like the squid inside is not very tender. It's a little bit tough. It's not like hard to eat or anything, but I feel like it could be a lot more tender. But as I mentioned, I think this is gonna be a lot better when we dip it in the sauce. And this is like a hoisin chili sauce. Usually you see some type of tomato sauce, some type of red sauce, or even an aioli with calamari. But here we definitely have something different that I am very excited to try. Hopefully it adds all the flavor that we need here. All right, we're loaded up on all that sauce. Let's see. Okay, this sauce is amazing. It tastes like a Korean barbecue style sauce. It's a little bit smoky. It has like the tiniest hint of spice. I really wouldn't say it's that spicy at all if you can't handle spice. But that sauce is fantastic. You get the hoisin coming through, a little bit of nuttiness from the sesame seeds as well. The sauce is great. And it honestly makes the calamari because it's providing all of the flavor here. But still, when I eat it, it's just very tough, you know? Out of all of the dishes that I've tried at the Boathouse, there really aren't any that I would not recommend. But this might be one of them. I just think there's better calamari around Disney World. I really like the one over at Trattoria Al Forno. And here at Springs, I'm sure there's better calamari as well. So the sauce is carrying, but the calamari itself isn't the best. Luckily, the Boathouse still has one other appetizer to wow me, the yellowfin tuna poke. This has avocado and mango in a soy lime vinaigrette for $19.75. Now it's also served with these wonton chips. They give you 5, but I feel like it's never really enough for the full dipping experience, so I always end up asking for more. And I only know that hack to order more chips because I order this tuna poke all the time. It is one of my go-to dishes here at the Boathouse. 9 times out of 10 that I come here, I am ordering this poke. It is so good. It's always so fresh, and the flavor is always on point. So let's build a little bite here. I like to grab a wonton chip, get a ton of that tuna and avocado on the chip. I like to eat each bite as a little dip here. And of course, you got to get some of that soy lime vinaigrette on there as well because that is so flavorful and good. We are all loaded up there, folks. That is so good. This dish here never misses, and I feel like you could just tell how fresh this is Just by looking at how pink and red that tuna is, it just looks perfect, and it tastes perfect as well. You get the crunch from the chips, and these aren't just like your regular wonton chips, no. They're also seasoned, and they're a little bit spicy. If you get one with too much seasoning, it'll give you a good kick there. But these wonton chips are so perfect, super crunchy, and I love that creamy avocado that's on the bottom. That's a perfect creaminess, and then you get those little pops of sweetness from the mango. This is just so fresh, so light, and like the perfect summer appetizer that you want to eat while you're sitting out here on the back bar. And we haven't even talked about the soy lime vinaigrette yet. It adds so much additional flavor to this dish. They kind of toss the tuna in it. It has a little kick as well, which I really appreciate. And there's some on the bottom of the dish too, so you can kind of scoop up some additional vinaigrette with each bite. But man, if you're looking for an appetizer at the Boathouse, it's one of the best. For $19.75, I also think you get a really good portion of food. There is so much tuna in here that it's really pretty filling. Like I said, you could make a meal out of this dish alone right here. Maybe order this and like an additional side, and you got yourself a meal, because it's a lot of food for the price. Well, for the appetizers, we had one miss and one hit. It's time for the entrees, and I'm telling you, this entree looks amazing. At each restaurant, we're gonna be getting their grouper, and here at the Boathouse, we have a pan-seared Gulf grouper. This has charred corn, baby butter beans, sweet peppers, and a sunflower chili butter for $45.50. So $45 is a bit much, but I gotta say, this is a huge piece of fish, and it looks so good. Just by the looks of it, I could tell this is gonna be incredibly flaky, and that butter that's just like soaking into this fish looks... My mouth is like watering just looking at this. This is another dish that I've never tried at the Boathouse. So I'm excited to finally be trying, and by the looks of it, this might be added to like the regular rotation of what I'll order here. I mean, just look at this fish. Look at how like flaky it is. Wow. And that like pool of sunflower chili butter on top is just soaking into that fish. But what I really want to eat right over here is this little crispy part. This side is so crispy, it looks so good. All right, we've got our little crispy edge here. This tastes just as good as it looks. It's absolutely perfectly cooked. You have those crispy edges that I love, but it's still super soft and flaky on the inside. This is literally the most perfectly cooked piece of fish you could get. And the flavor, incredible. They give you a little lemon to squeeze on top, and honestly, this dish is so flavorful, you do not need that lemon at all. I think the fish is just seasoned lightly with some salt and pepper, but a good amount of salt and pepper to where you can taste it. That butter, the sunflower chili butter, wow. The fish is already super buttery, but then the butter just adds this amazing flavor. I wouldn't say it's like spicy, like you hear chili and you would think super spicy. It's more smoky than spicy there. And that butter, the butter makes the dish. But we still have to try this like little succotash mixture that we have on the bottom. There's some peppers, some corn, some lima beans. And while I do really enjoy this side here and this dish as a whole, I feel like this is more of a lighter option. So if you're looking for something lighter, this would be perfect for you, despite the piece of fish being quite large. Since it doesn't have any like potato or anything on the bottom, it's definitely a lighter option. I wish it maybe came with a couple of potatoes, but you could always add on a side. If you were really hungry, this might not fill you up, but on a day like today, when we're gonna be trying all of the food, it is honestly perfect. I love the succotash on the side, and I love this fish here. Well, we only have one more dish to try here at the Boathouse, and this is a dessert that I've already had before, and I already know I love. This is the giant key lime pie with a vanilla bean, chantilly cream, and raspberries for $15. They say this pie serves to, I think, 4 to 6 people could share this pie here. It is huge, and it's so heavy too. Like, this is a ginormous slice of pie. So for $15, I think this is like such a steal. I think all the desserts at the Boathouse are such a good deal for how much you get. Like, none of them are single serve desserts. You need at least 4 people to share all of the desserts that they have here, and this key lime pie is no different. This is like beyond huge. But we'll dig in here and get a little bit of a bite with everything, and look at that. Oh my gosh, that is a very large bite. Hopefully it tastes as good as I remember. It does. This is legitimately some of the best key lime pie. It's, in my eyes, the perfect key lime pie. I really love how buttery that graham cracker crust is here. And it's a thick layer of graham cracker too, which is necessary for the amount of like pie and filling that there is here. You need a thick crust to kind of taste a little bit in every bite. And that crust is amazing. And then you get to that filling. And this filling is different than most other key lime pies, in my opinion, because it's very thick and creamy. It reminds me a lot of a cheesecake, which I personally really enjoy. The amount of lime flavor in here is perfect. It's not overbearing, and it's not too light of a lime flavor to where you can't really taste it. The lime flavor is perfect, and you also have this super thick layer of this like freshly made vanilla cream. Everything about this tastes so fresh, and it's so good. This has to be one of the best key lime pies. It's definitely the best key lime pie at Disney World. Now that we've taste tested all 4 things from the Boathouse, it's time to take a short walk over to Paddlefish. This is such an iconic restaurant here because it's located inside of the giant boat. But even though it's very eye-catching, a lot of people tend to forget about it, including me. I've only been here a handful of times, and I don't think I've ever even eaten a full meal. Obviously, the Boathouse had a very strong showing, so Paddlefish has a lot to live up to. Let's see if they could pull off the win. And it is totally a different vibe here inside of Paddlefish than it is at the Boathouse. I think we were standing outside, and I don't think we saw a single soul walk in or out of this restaurant. It's certainly very empty too. It's just about 5 o'clock, so we're approaching like prime dinner hours here at Disney World. We're actually seated upstairs right next to the restrooms, and I could hear the toilets flushing as we're sitting at the table. So hopefully that's not an indication as to how this meal is going to go. But on to our first dish at Paddlefish, and of course we're going to be grabbing the calamari. This has shishito peppers, peppadew, and peri-peri for $19. If I'm being honest, this doesn't really look that great. My mom said they look like onion rings, and I totally agree with her. These pieces of calamari are huge, and they're coated in what looks to be like such a thick batter. It looks like almost cornmeal. That's what I'm getting just by the looks of it. We'll see how it is. This one itself is really soggy. It's not really crispy. Hopefully it tastes a bit better than it looks here. I want to try again the calamari just on its own without sauce first. Here's the thing. The batter has a lot more flavor than the batter of the calamari over at the Boathouse. But like I suspected, it's very thick to the point where I can't really even taste that I'm eating calamari. It's tender and it's not chewy, but it doesn't even taste like seafood. It kind of tastes like it could be an onion ring. It tastes like anything could be in this batter here. It does not taste like calamari. And it's also really not crispy at all. Even the piece that I grabbed that I thought felt crispier than the other ones, it didn't have really any crispness to it whatsoever. Now our sauce, it's just served with a red sauce here, and it's cold. It's a very cold red sauce. Let's grab this big piece. There's a big piece of calamari there. That piece was definitely a lot less tender than the last piece was. Very hard to get apart. And I do not care for this sauce here at all. It's like a very sweet, tomato-y kind of sauce. And the fact that it's served cold is really throwing me off because you have the warm calamari with this cold sauce. You know, it's a peri-peri sauce, but it tastes like a sweet tomato sauce. And I believe peri-peri is supposed to be a little bit spicy. It's like peppers. It tastes like a sweet tomato sauce. And the flavor's not good, but what's really off-putting about this is that I'm eating warm calamari with a very cold tomato-based sauce. And I'm not just talking like a room temperature sauce. Like this was stored in the fridge, actually. And I don't think it goes well at all. I'd rather eat the calamari on its own. But even then, it's not great. So maybe neither restaurant could do calamari that well. I don't know. We're off to a rough start here at Paddlefish. Hopefully it gets better. And next up we have the ahi poke with a sweet black soy, avocado, cucumber pickle, and tortilla chips for $20. So this is definitely a lot different than the tuna poke over at the Boathouse. Most noticeably, the chips. We have tortilla chips instead of the wonton chips. They look like they're seasoned with like the same kind of seasoning on there. It honestly looks like it could be some tahini, which I'm also noticing on the poke here, which is just covered in seasoning and different spices, and it has a bunch of different things mixed in. It makes me a little bit worried because seeing all this stuff added to the tuna makes me feel like they're masking the freshness of the tuna with all of these different flavors and spices and things. So I don't know how this is going to be. It honestly doesn't look too hot either. And also I want to point out the menu says cucumber pickles. I know they're pretty much the same thing, but that's actually what it says. So we're going to dive into this here. Okay, let's load up a chip here. But first, actually, I want to dig around in this. And look at how much, like, sauce. This is just, like, sitting in sauces and such. And there's really not that much avocado in here. I'm assuming that these parts here are the cucumber, but I can't really tell because everything is just covered in sauces and dressings. But, let's try this bite here. So I'd say this isn't as bad as it maybe looks. I'll definitely be able to enjoy this. However, it's not great. There is an overwhelming amount of that sweet black soy sauce in here, and it really overpowers the flavor of every other ingredient. It's pretty much all I taste, except when I get a bite of the tuna with the pickles in here, because there are in fact cucumbers and pickles in here, and the bite of the pickle does not go with the tuna at all. That was not a good combination. But everything else just tastes like that soy sauce, which when I'm having like fresh tuna, fresh fish, I want to be able to taste that a little bit, you know, but I really can't here. There's definitely not enough avocado either. I wish I could get more of the avocado in each bite because I really like how the poke over at the Boathouse gets that creaminess from the avocado. And since there's really not a great amount of it in here, it's kind of gets lost with all of the other stuff. We do have a lot of chips though, and the chips are fine. I like the seasoning on them and stuff, but are they better than the wonton chips? I don't know. Probably would not order either of the appetizers that we got here again. I don't want to try something else because they do have some other things on the appetizer list like scallops and the lobster corn dogs that sound really good. So next time I probably check them out. But in terms of this challenge, we got these two here, and I don't know if they were highlights to the appetizer menu. So we're moving on to our entree, and we got the Florida Grouper, which is a pan-seared grouper with artichokes, cherry tomatoes, Kalamata olives, and lemon for $48. So this dish was a couple dollars more than the grouper over at the Boathouse, and it also looks to be a bit of a smaller portion. The fish itself looks good, but the artichokes and the roasted red peppers and stuff on the side just looks kind of like thrown together, and it doesn't look very appetizing or very well seasoned. But we're of course going to see. I want to dive into this fish here first. There are bits with a nice crust as well. Not quite as crusty as the grouper at the Boathouse, but still a good crust. If you're looking for a plain piece of fish, that's pretty much what you can expect with this. There really is not much flavor at all. I need some salt and pepper. Luckily, we have some on the table. And it said lemon. It could use a lot more lemon than this because there really is just not much flavor. It's also very tough and very meaty, where the grouper from the Boathouse literally just like flaked apart and was so buttery. This is, you gotta like actually cut into this to get a chunk off. It doesn't really like fall or flake apart. And it doesn't have like that buttery feel that the grouper over at the Boathouse did. As for our side, this medley of artichokes, spinach, roasted red peppers, olives, and one singular tomato. I mean, that just tastes like a can of artichokes, like canned artichokes, and really nothing else. That's the only flavor that I'm getting. So this is really disappointing. I mean, the fish isn't great on its own, and the side that it's served with is also not great. I now see why maybe not that many people are coming into this restaurant. Now we're on to dessert, and you already know we are ordering the key lime pie. This has a graham cracker crust and torched meringue for $13. I would just like to point out that this was only $2 cheaper than the key lime pie at the Boathouse, and it's maybe a quarter of the size? Maybe less. I'm not too sure, but it also looks like too perfect to be made in-house. I was thinking it looks like one of those desserts that restaurants can buy in bulk from like Restaurant Depot or something like that. But I would assume they are torching the meringue on here on top. So that part looks good, but I don't know. I don't have too high of hopes on this dessert, especially after how the beginning of our meal has gone. See how it tastes. I do think this key lime pie tastes like your average key lime pie that you could pretty much get anywhere. It has a decent lime flavor. I do like the crust. It has a good brown buttery kind of flavor, but it just tastes very, very average. Like I've had this key lime pie before. This slice here can be shared between two people, but I'd say it's mainly a slice for one, and for the price, to only be $2 less than the slice at the Boathouse for that massive slice of key lime pie. I don't know about that one. Well, with that, we have officially eaten at the Boathouse and Paddlefish today, and it's finally time to let you guys know which one I think is better. So first, let's talk calamari. The calamari over at the Boathouse, I did not think was that great. It was very crispy and the sauce was delicious. However, it wasn't super tender and didn't have a ton of flavor on its own. After eating that calamari, I certainly thought that the calamari over at Paddlefish would be the winner. However, it was very soggy. The batter tasted good, but the calamari itself did not taste the best, and I also really did not like the sauce. So in terms of calamari, the winner of the calamari battle is actually going to the Boathouse. While it wasn't my favorite, and I do think there are better appetizers on the menu, I do think the sauce kind of made up for the lack of flavor in the calamari and the breading itself, and I need my calamari to be crispy. So if I had to pick calamari from either restaurant, I'm going with the calamari from the Boathouse. Now onto the battle of the tuna poke. The tuna poke over at the Boathouse is served in a stack with the avocado and mango on the bottom, a ton of fresh tuna on the top, and then a delicious vinaigrette served with amazing wonton chips. Over at Paddlefish, it was a really different situation. There were some ingredients mixed in there, a little bit of avocado, not a lot of fish, a lot of cucumber, some pickles which didn't really belong, and just some plain tortilla chips. It was also way overly sauced, so the only thing I really tasted was that sweet soy glaze on it. So the winner for the poke battle obviously goes to the Boathouse. It just tastes so much fresher, and it really just lets the tuna shine while adding complementary flavors where Paddlefish, all the flavor was just kind of taken over by stuff other than the actual tuna. So we're 2-0 so far, the Boathouse having 2 points and Paddlefish having 0. And we're moving on to the grouper, where the grouper at the Boathouse was amazing. The fish was cooked perfectly. It had the perfect crust on it. It was so buttery and flaky. And the side that it was served with, that little hash that it had with the lima beans and the corn, was phenomenal. The grouper over at Paddlefish was very unimpressive. It didn't have that same buttery, flaky kind of feel. It was very chewy, very meaty, very tough, and the sides that it was served with were not great. Those artichokes with the olives did not go together. It could have used a lot more seasoning, a lot more lemon. It needed something. So, the winner of the grouper battle also goes to the Boathouse. On to dessert, where we tried the key lime pie at both restaurants. Obviously, the key lime pie at the Boathouse was huge. The portion for the price that you pay, the value was there. But even if it wasn't a good value, the flavor is so good that it would be worth it. That vanilla chantilly cream on top is so delicious, and I really like how it kind of blends a cheesecake with a key lime pie. That's got to be the best key lime pie at Disney World. And the key lime pie over at Paddlefish, obviously we just ate it. It wasn't that great. Obviously, value-wise, it didn't live up to the value that you're served over at the Boathouse, and flavor-wise, it isn't really on par either. It just tasted like a typical key lime pie. So the winner of the key lime pie battle is once again going to the Boathouse, meaning the Boathouse is winning this challenge 4-0. I really thought Paddlefish would give a little bit of competition. Like I said, it's not very often that I eat at Paddlefish, but, you know, I thought some of the food would be a lot better than it actually was, but it wasn't. like I said, that could just be because I ordered all of the things for this challenge and I didn't really try Paddlefish's best dishes. So if you guys have any favorite dishes from Paddlefish, let me know down below in the comments because I'll have to come back and try some of them. I definitely want to give it another shot outside of this challenge. I think it's safe to say if you're choosing to dine between the Boathouse or Paddlefish, where I personally think you should dine, Boathouse is the clear winner in my opinion, but you guys will have to let me know. Drop me a comment down below letting me know if you prefer Boathouse or Paddlefish. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. Thank you to everyone over on Patreon. I appreciate your support. As always, if you enjoy honest Disney food reviews, I'm always going to give them to you, so make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!